Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to my Vegan Persian cooking show. Today I'll be cooking something a bit more challenging, just because it's a bit more meat reliant, so I've had to figure out what I'm going to replace the meat with, but I think I have it kind of down. It's called Koofteh Tabrizi. It's really good when it's done right. So I hope I can do it good. Stay with me and find out. So for this week's recipe, this is what you'll be needing. I have 5 small onions here. If you have larger ones, you don't need 5. These are just tiny, so and it's kind of a recipe that requires a lot of onions, so the more flavorful it'll be. This is half a cup of couscous. I have about half a cup of quinoa here. This is half a cup of split peas, yellow. A quarter cup of wild brown rice. And we got a cup of walnuts. This is a cup of kidney beans that are soaking right now. And you want to let them soak for a few hours just so they're easier to handle and cook faster. Okay, and then I got, so this is a little bit of mint dried. If you have fresh, it's better. I have dried just because that's all I had. I have some 3 cloves of garlic, some dried cherries. You don't have to have these, I'm just having them. And then some dried apricots. And then I have a cup of barberries. This is again something that's very Persian and maybe not a lot of people have. So if you have it, great. You kind of need it though. So just go buy some. They're called barberries, dereshk. I have my trusty, better than bouillon, vegetable broth maker. It's basically about like you can use vegetable bouillons as well, but I like this better. There's little bunches of, I have savory here, wonderful spice, tarragon, dill, and basil, rehun. Okay? What did I not mention? Right. And then this is chickpea flour, which I'll be using in substitution for egg. You just kind of like, with this, I didn't measure it, but it's about a spoonful that you need. You kind of have to mix it with hot water and then you kind of, I'll show you what it'll look like, but it'll get to a place where it'll kind of look like an egg, and that's where you want it. We'll use this to kind of stick everything together so it doesn't fall apart. Right, and you can't ever forget turmeric. Like any other Persian recipe, lots of turmeric. Okay everyone, so I have my little bit of quinoa here. I've washed it a few times. It's really important that you wash your quinoa before you cook it, otherwise it has this nasty flavor to it. Wash it a few times. There's a little bit of water on it. I've brought a little bit of water to boil here, and I'm gonna add my better than bouillon, just like a little bit. You don't need like a full spoonful, but just like this much. I'm mixing it in with the water. Okay. Right, so you see that it's boiling, the bouillon is mixed in there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add my couscous in here. And I'm gonna cover it. Yeah, I'm gonna cover it, and I'm gonna leave it here. Like, leave it off the oven so that it sits for 5 minutes. Okay, so as you see here, we have our quinoa is cooked. It's like nice and fluffy. So I'm gonna just put this aside, and then I'm also gonna dump this. This is our couscous. I'm gonna add that also to my bowl of quinoa. So here I have this bowl of quinoa and couscous, and I'm just gonna put this in the fridge to cool down for a little bit. Alright everyone, so while my couscous and quinoa are cooling down in the fridge, I have my little bit of rice in here and my little bit of split peas in here, and I'm gonna cook them just so that they're a little soft. We don't want them to be fully cooked, so about 10 minutes or so, I think that should do it. I'll come in and check in then. It's important to note that I've washed both of these like a few times just with water, rinse it. And I've added a little bit of coconut oil to this just so that it's not sticking together too much. So I'm just going to turn them on and we'll check in a bit. Alright everyone, so I've prepared the rice and the split peas. I've mixed them together. They're half cooked, so it's not fully cooked yet, but they're ready. I'm going to set them aside. And now what I've done is I've put my kidney beans on the stove. And I'm going to cook them for about 45 minutes so that they're nice and soft. And then we'll come back and we'll talk then. Alright everyone, so I've cooked my beans now too. They're perfect, cooked, beautiful, soft. Yeah, they're good. So now we're going to get to the mixer part, and I'm going to make the meat. So to do that, I'm going to add all my beans here. I'm adding all my garlic that I've chopped up. So I'm going to add 1 fistful of all my herbs. So this is the dill. So there's my tarragon right here. My sour. And then I got a little bit of basil. That's going right in there. Okay. So you'll see that this is like nicely chopped, but it's definitely like not mixed or yet to be a ball. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add some other stuff to this. I'm adding my couscous and quinoa, a little bit of it, or maybe actually just all of it. I'm feeling like now is a good time to add the chickpea flour egg in here. So I've boiled some hot water, and in that same bowl, you don't need to use another bowl, in that same bowl just pour a little bit out. I'm going to start with 1 spoon of the chickpea flour, and you just kind of beat it. You'll kind of see that it turns into this like almost egg anyways. You see, there it is. It's kind of like an egg anyways. It has the same color. Texture wise, I think we need a little bit more. So again with this, I just go as needed. That was like 1.5 spoons. So there we go, adding that in. And I'm gonna add a handful of the onion, of the 5 onions. I'm just adding 1 handful of it as well. So let's see where this gets us. I'm gonna make another egg. I'm gonna pour this again on top. Okay, so you see that it's definitely like closer to what would be like maybe a ball material, a balling material. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the walnut in there too. Okay, you guys, so you see how thick it is. It's like kind of like even hard to navigate. So it's ready for the rest of the ingredients. So I'll show you what to do once it gets here. It's like all really mixed and chopped, perfect and ready to go. Okay everyone, so I'm gonna just put the rest of the onions, which is about like 4 of the 5 onions, in some coconut oil, and I'm gonna fry them now. You have to kind of do this before you roll your balls, just because we put a little bit of onion in the middle of the ball as well. Definitely gonna add some turmeric. Okay, so this is the mix that we got out of the blender. Some people have a food processor, so it comes out a bit neater, but I only have a blender, and so I'm just going in with hand and making sure that everything is evenly distributed. While I do that, I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt to it, maybe like about half a teaspoon, that much, just like going around, making sure everything is nice and salted. And then I'm gonna add this, my mix of split peas and rice that is half cooked now to this mix as well. And I'm gonna mix it in. So this bowl is a little too small, so I'm just gonna transfer actually some of this over to the bowl where we had the split peas and rice, just so I can kind of move around a little bit easier in here. And then I'm gonna add some of the zereshk, maybe like about half of it here, a little bit here. While this is happening also, I just want to mention that I have my oven preheating to about 400 degrees. We're gonna just bake them a little bit and then I'll show you what to do after that. Okay, so here's our mix. I have a pan. I've greased it with coconut oil just so it doesn't get sticky. And I have a little bit of water in here, which I'm gonna dip my hands in. So I've washed my hands already. I'm just gonna grab a bunch and I'm going to semi-roll it, make a hole in there. The onion that I half cooked on the oven, just some of it. I put a little bit in there. My grandma used to do this in a way where each of the balls had a unique kind of like a Kinder Surprise in the middle of it. So for this one, I'm gonna add a apricot, a dried apricot. And then I'm just gonna top it up with another thing. And we don't want it to be super big because it'll just be like hard to eat. Alright everyone, look at how beautiful our kooftes look. They're ready to go in the oven. We're gonna leave them in there for maybe 20 to 30 minutes. So while our kooftes are in the oven and cooking, I'm gonna get to the sauce part of it, so to speak. So I have a lot of onion. You see, like, this is maybe like 3 small onions, so maybe 2 real ones, 2 big ones. And it's cooking. I'm gonna add my handful of dried mint in here. I'm gonna add the rest of my zereshk. I've also chopped up the rest of what was left of the apricots and the cherries, and I'm gonna add that in here as well. And I'm gonna add a bunch of water to it. That should do it. I'm also gonna add like half a teaspoon of salt in here, just for flavor, and mix it around. I'm gonna bring this to a boil and let it simmer for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and we'll come back to it. Okay, you all, this smells so good right now. It's like nice, still really watery. I want it to be a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna let it boil for a bit more. But what I've done is I added all of the zereshk and I took out some of it, just so I'm gonna use this to decorate for garnish the plate. Alright everyone, so this is more or less ready. I'm gonna turn it off. It's been cooking for like about 20 minutes, but I don't think our kooftes are quite ready yet. So I'm turning it off. I'm just gonna tell you guys that I forgot to mention this, but I added a little bit of abgura to this, which is sour grape juice, just because I felt like it needed a little bit of a kick. And it's tasting perfect. It's tasting exactly like my grandma made it, which is great. Alright you guys, so look at how beautiful they look. Ah, I'm so happy. They're fully baked. What I did was I turned them around, like, so I would let them sit for about 20-25 minutes, turn them to the other side, and they're fully like crispy on the outside on each side of them. And I think they're basically ready to go. So now I'm gonna plate it and I will show you guys how it looks. Alright everyone, so this is the final result. I've poured the kooftes, the balls, into the water that we have. It looks so good. I can just see like little bits of cherry here. There's a little bit of prune there. It smells really amazing. And I've just kind of garnished it with a little bit of what was left of the leaves, the herbs, and then a little bit of zereshk, the barberry, on top of it, and the onions. So here it is. I hope that you like it, and I'm really excited to eat it. It looks really good to me. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!